How to draw and color people. I will tell you in this video. This is the last part of How to Draw People series. In the first 3 videos, we have discussed important things that will help you today. Please do watch them. We started with sketching basic shapes, then learning about how you can simply draw human joints and how to draw better poses. Now we are into our last video for this series, How to Draw People. Let's start. This is the reference I'm going to use for this video. It is already very dynamic and will be fun to draw. My main goal is to get the energy and the story of the pose in this gesture. I am drawing how the body is flowing and all the parts are working with each other to keep the balance on the skateboard. While I'm sketching, the basic shapes are in my mind and I'm trying to sketch according to them. After you draw your gesture, try to draw one more pass to have more clarity into the drawing. When you're drawing gesture, try to refine the pose as much as possible. Try to get a clear silhouette. Try to make the pose more dynamic. Try to show which of the hand is closer to the camera, which of the leg is closer to the camera, and which is not. Once your gesture is done, you will need to finalize the sketch by doing a nice line drawing. What you are essentially doing is creating the outline of the drawing. Try to keep the lines smooth and flowing. You need to consider the overlapping of the body parts and draw lines accordingly. This needs some practice to get right, so don't worry, just Ctrl Z and try again until you get the correct line. Try to be confident and draw smooth lines. You can play with the width of the line to make it more interesting. Yay, you're done with the line drawing. Now you get to color the sketch. Before you get into coloring, you need to do some shading. I'm going to tell you an easy way. First, you'll need to create a new layer and keep it under your line drawing layer. Now you need to color your sketch on this layer with one single color. Try to be particular with the outline, get all the shapes right. You can use this layer as a clipping mask. When you're done with this process, it should look something like this. Now we will work on the shadow. Now make a new layer, call it shadows, and set the blending mode to multiply. Paint in general shapes of the shadows, and don't worry if your shadow shapes go out of the line. You can always delete them by selecting the outer area in your color layer and then pressing delete on your keyboard. After you have painted in the shadow shapes generally, now it is time to observe your reference and see where the edges of the shadows are and if they are smooth or it has a clear edge. You need to observe the shapes of the shadows in your reference and paint them into your drawing accordingly. Do this process for your whole drawing. Now take one more layer and call it Occlusion Shadows or just shadow number 2. In this layer, we are going to paint in the shadows which are created by the foot contact with the skateboard or with the ground, folds of the t-shirt, pant ends, and there is a shadow created on the leg due to it. And all those kinds of shadows are called occlusion shadows, and you can paint in those shapes in this layer. We are done with the shadows. Now we are going to add highlights into our sketch. Make a new layer, name it highlights. Change the blending mode to overlay. Now paint in the highlights or the bright spots that you see in the reference. This will make your painting pop. Don't overuse this as less is more in this context. After all this hard work, the coloring part is very easy. Make a new layer, put it in color blend mode, and just like when you were a child and you used to fill a color book with a crayon, fill each part of the drawing with its separate color. It doesn't have to be shaded, it just needs to be a plain color, and you will see that the colors will take on the shading which we have done previously due to the filter modes. To give it a glow effect around the highlights, just duplicate the highlight layer and blur it out. It will feel like the highlights are glowing. So you're 90% already there. Now you can observe the reference and your artwork, and whatever feel like you want to add, you can add it manually and take it to the finished product that you want it to be. You can paint in a basic background for it, and also you can refine the shadow shapes and the highlight shapes. With that, we come to an end for this episode. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful. and on which other topics would you like me to make a video on. Do subscribe to the channel and like and comment on this video if you like the effort. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.